You should.
Some letter of
You've got
support?
three teeth,
I do.
and they're gonna be gone if you keep doing that.
COVID, yeah.
Okay,
Madam Chair.
We ready?
Your meeting is going.
thank you. I'm gonna call this, meeting of the Public Health and Safety Committee to order. And Ann, thank you for the minutes.
My pleasure.
And I thought they looked good, so I vote yes. You vote yes?
Love it.
Approved.
Patty, I didn't know you were gonna be in this committee, so I didn't forward them to you.
Oh, that's
I'll do
okay.
that in the future, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
An agenda
Thank you.
over here. I grabbed the-
Oh, okay.
Oh, and I have one.
Oh, yeah.
Got
Well,
it.
I just grabbed land use and planning, it's in my public health and safety. Okay, so not so good. Update from Chief Schrock, please.
Currently, for the month of May, we are sitting at 216 calls for service and 37 active, cases.
Is that new cases?
Yes, yeah.
When you say actives, aren't some of that is, I anticipate that's like still open.
Yeah, well, 37 cases generated, some are active, some were closed, so that's a good point, yeah. So, yeah,
Yeah,
that's where we are right now.
More concerned with new cases.
Well, there's new cases every month, it's just how it goes.
And they add to the caseload from before?
Depending on what's still going, yeah, I mean, like, these guys are pretty good at closing their stuff out.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was a very, very busy weekend, there were lots of sirens and
Yeah,
people, yeah.
things changed in like 12 hours.
Mhm. It was all local issues. There was, Thursday, there was a lot of cops flying around, and then Saturday, and there was a lot of questions about that. We had a disturbance at Family Dollar. The gentleman took flight, left, kind of barricaded himself inside of a house. We had 2 barricades, I guess, this week. And then he kind of took off and was located over in Bridger, and then pushed back over this way where we apprehended him. So he's sitting in jail right now on a
Did Cody
$155,000.
Peters push him back over here?
Mr. Olson did.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Olson did. So these guys, they grabbed him up, and then we had a brief standoff that we assisted county with, up the Highway 78 area, about 5 miles outside of Red Lodge.
Wow.
Thursday. Yeah.
Geez. I really appreciate you putting up those watch the sidewalk areas where you put the
I'd
sidewalk.
love to take credit for that, but I can't.
Well, was it the mayor that did it, or was it the police department?
We'll say both.
Which ones are you talking
The
about?
yellow signs on the crosswalks reminding people to,
I would
That
imagine.
was Public Works.
I was just gonna say,
Mike has those.
it was good to see.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good to see. It was like, yay, the signs are up again.
They help.
They do help. They do help.
Mhm.
All of the, traffic from other places see them and say, oh, wow, there's crosswalks, you better pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Not that the locals use them, but.
Anything to kind of slow it down a little bit to, which, by the way, the speed signs thus far sounds like it's been a great success.
Great.
Yeah.
They're in good spots.
I would like to be on the record that my vote is still that the one coming in from the north is moved back to the 35, and my thinking is just the roundabouts right there. I don't know how much of a value add the 25 adds, but.
Let's see, I would say that a lot of times, like, the further north you push it, or like, referring to the south side, the further south you push it, I mean, when you're coming off the pass, like if you go up the pass on the Wyoming side and come out through the Red Lodge side, and you're coming up to this 45 zone, okay, well, I'll slow down to 45, and then after that,
They slowed down.
they'll slow down, but they're like, well, I'll stay 45. For me, it's really important to let them know this is a 25 mile per hour zone here, and this is your speed. That way it's in their head.
Yeah, and I think I'd look at the 30, I like where the 35 is up there, because that solves our danger zone up there. 'cause
Up on
it's
top
kind
of the hill?
at the end.
Yeah.
This one, I'd originally thought the 35, but I like the 25, because it slows it down for the downtown part, which is really important.
Yeah,
The north one, I still, and again, I said I delegated this and I stepped away from it, but as I come into that, it's a combination of it's hidden,
mm-hmm.
and to me, the roundabout is right after that, which slows them down anyway. And
Who
so,
determined where they went?
so it was kind of a group thing. I had in my mind where I thought they were going, and then ultimately Brian and the chief decided where they went, and they moved, they left the one up on top out, and that was kind of as much to do with sun as anything. And it was one of those things where Dave said, you delegated this, back off and let it go. So I'm happy with that kind of in general, but I said, I'm voicing my opinion that the one on the north, if we look at that and maybe move it, my feelings wouldn't be hurt, but I'm sitting on my hands.
But I honestly think the 25-mile-an-hour zone there, you've got the gas station there, you've got a bunch of other businesses. So I don't have any problem with that one there. I mean, I've had to throw on my brakes. I know, well, I'm doing 29, okay? I was slowing down.
One thing to keep in mind too is those traffic control signs in and around the roundabout, they get hit a lot.
I've
A
noticed
lot.
that they've
Like,
been
they
hit a
get
lot.
hit?
Hit
Oh,
by
yeah.
vehicles, yep.
Look
Like
at them,
they
they're bent
strike
all the
them?
time.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. That's
Yeah,
annoying.
I'll show up to work, like, Monday morning, super early, and there's a sign, like,
Yeah.
Oops.
yeah.
Oh, you're not talking about you're just saying right next to the roundabouts that
No,
happen.
in the
Correct.
roundabout.
Yeah, like the signs that are, the traffic controls throughout the
How
roundabout.
much of that is big trucks, I wonder?
Some, but it's difficult to,
But anyway, yeah, I'm glad, I hope
video.
hope it's being appreciated and noticed.
I think so.
Anyway,
Madam
I
Chair.
notice it, yeah, sir.
I'd agree with the mayor that, I think the 25-mile-an-hour one down by the old bed and breakfast is perfect.
Mhm.
I had to look to find the one north of town.
It flashes.
It flashes, but
Yeah.
there's,
Only if you're speeding.
but it's,
I've noticed it.
it's hard. One at the south end of town, you can't miss it. The one
Mhm.
at the north end of town is easily missed. It was for me, I had to go looking for it. I wanted to find where they're at.
Mhm.
I've been an advocate for them for years, but, I don't know.
I would concur. I think it needs to be around Sam's, between Sam's and the hospital.
Well, it's gonna go where the existing signs are, and we'd have to get a new permit. And at this juncture, I'm kind of like, let's write it out and see, but I mentioned that if, it was interesting, because when we talked to your officers, they wanted it to 45, they wanted it as far out as possible.
I see.
But, and then that's when, well, everybody's got their own opinion, I'll just, like I said, I'll just,
So the cost was $4,000 a sign, is that basically
yeah, it was,
to acquire and
It was
install?
cheaper than we thought it was gonna be. We had budgeted 10, and they were like 3 to 4. There was another one that I saw, over the weekend, kind of going, I had almost wondered about getting an extra one and putting it over toward the high school. Or
On
the high
Second?
school kids coming in or out, if there would be any value in doing that, but that was just a thought.
On
It's kind
like,
of targeted.
second or,
Yeah,
well, they earned it.
Still targeted.
They earned it.
I still get regular complaints from neighbors about kids speeding in and out of school.
Same.
I used to live on Chambers, and I know my neighbor reported them all the time. They'd fishtail when it was gravel road before it was paved.
Mhm.
They would fishtail, and then they hit the stop sign. I think I
That's
had
why
to
we
call you
paid-
out there
That's why
before.
we paid that, by the way, was because of that. He
Thank
called up
you.
and wanted to get rid of it. Apparently it improved it a little bit.
Yeah, it did.
Would that be something for this year's budget to add a few signs?
I could do it this year's, right? I could do it currently if we decided there's someplace else we wanted to add them.
Can we get a sign that says, "Smile, you're on candid camera"?
So no, but one of the things you might notice, you will notice the different about our signs than everybody else's that you go to.
Ours are state compliant.
Ours are yellow. They don't say thank you. There was a bunch of rules about what they could and couldn't do, and that while they were turning, we basically built it to what the state compliance is.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of funny, because whether I'm in Idaho, Wyoming, I notice now, oh, they followed the rules, or they went through the channels versus they just stuck one up.
They
So
just did it.
What
Yeah.
does that mean? I know
Yellow is
it's,
warning versus white is The yellow is informational only.
In giving tickets though, is it a difference that it's state compliant?
So we really don't cite based off of the sign.
Oh, okay.
I suppose we could because they're calibrated.
But, no, but we won't.
Yeah.
That's actually in Montana, we won't, but, and that was a pretty big deal.
Oh, you're talking about LPRs and captured, yeah, the state of
We
Montana
don't
doesn't allow
capture
that.
anything.
Yeah.
No, we can't do that.
Darn.
I was wondering about that.
But to me, what it does do is it takes away your excuse of I didn't know.
Well, if I'm sitting there and I see the sign flash 85 and I don't have my radar on, I think that's good enough for a stop.
I think, yeah.
And actually, ours don't, if you're more than 5 or 10 over, they just say slow down,
Mm.
as opposed to, so that they don't play the high score game.
That's true, yeah,
That was another one of the reports we got, so. Do you think there's any value? Should we be looking at ordering another sign for going up to the school, or is there any place else in town you think would be advantageous?
I think I solved, Mr. Maples and I solved the Word Avenue North debacle with the stop sign at 8th Street going north to south.
Yeah?
That was a problem area. As far as speed goes, in my estimation, not really, aside from teenage driving, but that's everywhere you go.
All right, didn't wanna kill the whole.
Thank you. Okay, and, I did grab the wrong file, so I printed out some letters. Everybody got a letter for, support.
Did you have that, or, cause I have them spun up to print if you didn't, so.
I just grabbed the wrong file, so I don't have them with me.
Okay, hold on, I will print, actually, I may.
Does everybody know what I'm talking about?
Are you talking about Bill Foisty?
No, the letter of support for the cops hiring grant.
Oh, no, I have not seen that.
Okay, so, there's a letter of support that we'd all like to sign, because we're Public Health and Safety Committee, and, just to support the request for grant.
Now, at the last meeting, you said you and Danae would finish it at the end of May. Have you finished it and submitted it, or what's going on?
Yeah, so we.
Oh, is this the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a final answer in the month of June. We have done everything that we are supposed to do. We had a Zoom meeting with the, professional grant writers from Lexipol last week on Tuesday
Thank you, Dan.
or Wednesday, one of the two.
I need the-
And,
Well, I need the
everything
color
is-
coordinated.
Thank you.
Everything is looking good.
Madam Chair?
How much money are you gonna get?
So
Yeah, I think.
the thought is, if you guys look over that, what I think we'll do is we'll just have one copy that we have all three of you sign.
Oh, okay.
But I wanted to have you look at the wording of it and see, so I wrote one as the mayor, and then, but we wanted to have a bulk of letters that were different, you know, still kind of the same points in it. Some things that we called out in that, it had originally said, we just can't pay for it without this, but we changed that to more, we can't pay for this initially without this, and this is to hold us over until either the school or funding
And I think
sources
that's
get
the
addressed.
best way to go, because these grants don't last forever.
Yeah,
Correct.
and they will wanna know that it's a program that's gonna live.
That we're just not gonna do it a short term. Okay, well, I signed this one, if you guys wanna, so we'll have one with all of the committee signed?
Yeah, if you guys are all on board, or if there's any tweaks or edits you wanna make,
No,
holler and we'll
I
tweak
caught
them.
that one right away and thought, oh, that's good, because they're gonna ask, well, why would we fund this if it's gonna die? Because you're never gonna fund it yourself.
Sandy, what would you like me to sign, next to it or under?
Let's do under, and just do
Under.
member, because
Just
they've already
member?
got the committee.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so,
And I could put another space in there if I needed to change it so that there was a bigger space, because I'm noticing it's kinda,
tight. What could be to the side too?
but doesn't matter. And if you guys like that, we'll call. I had reached out while we're, any other comments or thoughts on that?
No.
Okay. I had reached out on the dumpster thing, I wanted to get hold of Daniel, who's our
Thank you,
fish
ma'am.
wildlife. I want to get his input before we finalize the trash, since bears is such a significant part of that.
Well, we know that we can't create a dumpster that is bear-proof. We can't even do that for our residential. Only that we make them really work at it. Rod, do you want a copy of this letter that maybe, you know, you attend these all the time?
He has one.
Oh, you have one, good.
And what I'm gonna do, if you guys like that, is I'm actually gonna print one more that has enough room for you to all sign
Next to, or?
in the same spot. I'm just creating more space, so.
Let us know what you need. Okay, so I guess we'll, lay off on dumpsters today. I mean, all we did is add that one paragraph. And apparently, I don't know what else we can do. Our trash, ordinance didn't address dumpsters, and we've had dumpsters, especially construction dumpsters with papers flying.
Yeah.
And unless the chief actually sees it fly out, you can't cite them for anything.
Anything else?
So we're requiring lids on dumpsters.
Yeah, I think I
You guys
remember
have all
seeing that last
practiced.
one. Thank you for the
Now,
recap.
where do you want to stop?
Now you can go 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Should I sign it, Chair, or not?
Chair, take
You
responsibility.
did sign,
Proud.
wow.
Be proud of that title.
I got it. And then she snorted.
What is the 250 that you wrote down? I didn't remember this grant is not that much.
I thought it was 250 or.
I thought it was 50. I think it's just, maybe, that's fine.
250's better still.
Yeah,
I have to, is Danae in the office?
not yet.
Not yet?
We'll get this to her and go from there. 250 would be wonderful.
Yeah.
What was your concern with fish, wildlife, and dumpsters?
Just the bears, I mean, just the bear elements of it. I just like, here's what we should do or not do. It just, part of it is just any conversations we have about dumpsters, I want their buy-off input.
Is that gonna be at tonight's meeting?
No, it'll probably be 2 weeks. I just, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Did you want your copy?
And
What's the status on, contract for garbage?
We have not yet heard from them. We have reached out to them to remind them that the
You've
deadline is
extended
pretty
it
close.
twice for them, what's going on?
No, we extended it once.
Once.
So, and
I
it was
get
it was to the, end of the month.
Getting close.
We are.
Okay.
And the reality is, if they don't respond, we'll extend it again. But I think they're going to respond because they don't get to raise our rates until we have a new contract in place. So the assumption is they're gonna continue providing us trash just at the existing rates.
or not,
Is this Republican?
because the contract's up.
Yeah, I don't think they'll just stop showing up one day.
You got a lid, you're good.
But the conversations thus far have not been that, but they had actually requested we extend it to the 15th and we extended it to the 30th. So the answer is, we do not yet have a feedback back. But we're gonna have, like I said, we're pulling in, the, bear folks on it, because that's our biggest thing we can do for bears from a public health and safety is our trash control. That's kind of how that all ties together.
Yeah. Okay, ordinance 910 regarding snow and ice removal from sidewalks.
It's not gonna
I'm
snow, I don't think, anytime soon.
Huh?
So it's not gonna snow anytime
Thanks.
soon.
Yeah, you say that now and it's gonna snow.
I don't
It's gonna
want,
be your fault that.
I don't wanna hear it.
Anyway, and I did do a resolution for setting the fines. And I.
Is it gonna go warning 50, warning 100, 200?
200,
Okay, that's what I thought, all right.
Exactly. And the funny thing is I grabbed the wrong file, so did I send the resolution out to everyone?
I haven't checked my
I feel
mail
like I
today.
read it
Oh,
this
check your
weekend.
mail. It would have been last,
Early.
it would have been last Thursday or Friday, because I knew that I was really doomed. And I did send them all to Dennison, and appreciated his input on all of them. The problem we had, Dennison, on the snow and ice removal is that apparently the city is removing the snow from the sidewalks at the south end of town. And right now, the north end of town doesn't require anyone to remove the snow, yet from the roundabout north. So the question, because downtown you require the, commercial entities next door. But for some reason, it was excluded from the roundabout north. and there are commercial entities down there, and sooner or later, there's gonna be a sidewalk all the way down. So it just seems smart to get ahead of it and require that. And then that brought up the fact that the city is actually clearing it at the south end of town, so why shouldn't they clear it at the north end of town? Mr. Mayor, did you have any discussion on that, snow removal at the north end of town?
No.
No?
Not that I'm remembering at this moment. In passing only, so, no, because that was gonna be, it was basically my input on it, correct, was my takeaway?
Is to find out who actually is
well-
doing it south, and if it's
Oh,
us,
it's us doing it south.
definitely, okay.
But, and technically, we probably shouldn't be, but I don't think the answer is to quit.
But what do we do about the north end? Do we require the commercial entities to clear theirs, as long as there's a sidewalk in front of it, or adjacent to the property? Because there is a sidewalk on the east side, in front of the gas station, in front of the tire place.
Well approached.
Pro Match does their own. And I think that then we lose our sidewalks after Pro Match.
Well,
Rod?
I think one of the things that you gotta look at downtown versus north and south, to a certain extent, when the state plows plow downtown, they don't shoot it normally all the way to the front of the building. They have a couple times this last winter.
Yes, we know.
But when you get past downtown, they're pushing that snow hard over and really burying those sidewalks. And the characteristics of snow is when it's moved like that and then it settles, it turns into concrete.
Yeah, they're rocks.
And it's very difficult for anybody to move that snow. I think Willie could be able to give you the best information about how it is to remove the snow south of town, because the state buries that sidewalk with all the snow off of the highway. So there's some issues there that might be different from downtown. City also only removes snow from one side south of town, not
Right.
both sides.
And I would only propose to do it on the side adjacent to commercial, which truly is on the east side, when you have 3, 4 commercial entities there. So that's our dilemma, and I guess we'll wait to hear from Public
And I
Works.
go back to ultimately, council collectively sets that, and then it's executive's job to figure out how to make it happen. So I think part of that is still what you guys decide.
do it.
Do it.
Nice.
If there's a sidewalk, let's clear it. It doesn't have to be on both sides. But, at least on the, especially now, at least on the east side of the highway.
Okay, I own a market downtown Broadway in the middle. How come I'm paying for mine and the people on the end of the town aren't?
Because you're downtown in the Miracle blocks.
I would agree to eventually the city somehow help the business owners downtown. I've only been down there for 46 years, so I've shoveled
What
a
do
lot
you
of
know?
snow. But a nice right behind blower that could just make that first pass,
Come around,
Would be
go the
great.
other direction.
but it's gonna take equipment and manpower.
Yeah.
And the most efficient would be, potentially, you'd have to study it, city employee versus hiring it out.
We'll have to hire it out just because of staffing. So we have already had that. We already have had that comment. So if we do it, it'll be hired out because our crew is worried about getting the roads open so people can get to schools, hospitals, grocery store, et cetera. So we've already been told that if we do it, it'll be a hired out thing. Do we buy the equipment and then hire somebody to drive it?
No. Well, I think we have some time to decide how to do that.
Well, I would argue that you want to decide sooner rather than later, because that's a budget question. That's putting 50,000 in, you know, or some dollar amount into the budget to do that.
There's no comparison between the sidewalks here and the sidewalks north and south of town.
But how do we define that? Rod says.
You've got 20 feet. You can do it. You know, people can do it. I mean, what's the big deal? that's part of your business, you want people to come in, so you'll take care of it. But to, buy new equipment and all that stuff you have to dodge while you're going down,
That's the problem.
I knew a guy that, plowed downtown for everyone for years.
Really?
And once the streetlights went in, it made it impossible. to
Didn't
get
Milt
the
used to
equipment.
do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew a
was
guy.
gonna say.
Streetlights and
But that was-
benches.
He did it every snowstorm. He went up and down Main Street.
And I
Every
wore,
day to
I
go.
wore out a snow blower doing it, but that's on me, 'cause I didn't split my shoes,
But
but.
once the light poles went in, it was too narrow for him
Yeah.
to continue with his side-by-side in the plow.
Right.
And it doesn't take long. I think it's just that initial, you don't do from curb to building fronts, you do one path.
A 36-inch wheelchair compliant.
It makes it safe for the general public, and then the business owner is responsible to do the cleanup. And it's literally,
But
it
then
would
go
be
back to,
less than an hour to do that.
to Ann's comment, though there is a comparison, in both cases, they are streets that right now, the ordinance says adjacent properties are responsible. That's north of town, that's south of town, that's
Adjacent
in the middle
commercial
of town.
properties.
No, not just commercial, resident, just you're responsible for the sidewalks adjacent to you.
Does the highway department require the city to keep the sidewalks clear? It's kind of like.
No, they require
And
the
the
city.
city
to keep
requires the
it
business
maintained.
owners to keep it clear.
I'd have to go look, because we have, our contract is, there's something that they leave responsible to us, and then we have the option of deferring it to the adjacent, which is what we've done, but I think that's maintenance. I don't know if that includes snow, I'd have to
I'm
read
not
it.
sure.
Okay, so what it says is that areas that require snow removal from sidewalks include any of the commercial zone districts, C1, C2, C3, that'd be north and south, and C4. So that's what it did read and does read, we didn't change that. The problem is that we had, for the purpose of this chapter, the paved multi-use path along Highway 212 extending northward more or less from the traffic circle at Third Street shall not be considered a sidewalk and shall therefore be exempt from the requirement herein to remove snow and ice from thereupon. So it's based on commercial zoning.
When was that created?
I think that was created in 1980, which means,
There were no sidewalks north of town in 1980.
Right.
There was no roundabout.
well, it wasn't even
Sidewalks went in
1980.
with the
They
roundabout.
put 1980 on everything that's before 1980
Right.
and less. It could have
So
been
the
1930.
ordinance you're referring to is outdated because it was correct at the time that there were no sidewalks.
You know what?
The state
This
put
has-
sidewalks in.
This has C3 north and C3 south, and that's something the planning board did 8 years ago. We just had C3, so this was updated somewhere in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there wouldn't be C3 north and south.
I thought, didn't I see a bunch of emails between the committee and Dennison on like the fines and stuff being in it? Do you have a copy that's,
I haven't got a copy that includes the fines. Dennison said we could do it either way. He felt that we could leave the fines within the snow ordinance itself, yet we could also do a resolution. So he did give us a resolution, and he also left the fines in there as well.
In your packet, they're included in that
They're
ordinance.
included. Yeah,
In the packet.
his email to us was that we could go either way. I think he felt that the fines, by raising them, that were probably good for a while, because we've gone from $50 to $100, because it costs them $50 if they hire Procon to clear in front of their 50-foot building. So charging them $50 because they didn't do it doesn't make any sense. Charging them $100 is an incentive.
okay, so let's go back to what's in the packet. You're on the agenda tonight. How are your ducks gonna be aligned in a row tonight so the discussion is useful?
I can go either way, depending on whatever the city council thinks. If they want to see it in the ordinance, I don't see an advantage of having it in the ordinance. I see a disadvantage to having it in the ordinance. And then the resolution, and as we've done with every other one, is we left all of the fines out of the ordinances, so we don't have to change an ordinance. in order to change the findings.
Okay.
Ann, how do you feel about that? Hello.
I know, I'm just thinking.
The one thing we did leave in the ordinance is that the first time they get a warning, and then if they don't clear it in 24 hours, the city will clear it and charge them for it. And if they don't pay for it, it goes on their tax bill. So that's still in the ordinance, but that's not a specific dollar amount fine. And all of these fines are in addition after that's happened, so it's subsequent offenses. So that's what we had added, is the first subsequent offense. And maybe that's why he felt that it should be here as opposed in a separate, resolution.
Madam Chair, so I'm looking at the ordinance in the packet. I'm looking at what's gone, I'm looking at what's there. How does this committee, is this, I'm gonna speak and let my inner Ann come out. Let's
Oh,
move-
thank you,
let's-
because the
let's-
outer Ann's not.
Well, and I'll let Ann tell me if I'm close or not. Let's just move this damn thing forward. Is it there or is it not there? Is it
Sounds like
safe?
me.
Pardon?
Sounds like me.
Is that,
I like it.
So, where do you guys, if you guys look at the wording that's here, that has the updated fines in the ordinance, and it has some stuff crossed out, and it has some stuff not crossed out, does it meet what you want it to do? Or if it's not, I mean, earlier we were having a conversation about north, south, sideways of town, is that in here, or what's still missing? How close to this, to what you guys wanted it to be, is it?
I have no problem leaving it in the ordinance, and apparently, Dennison felt that was important. Because it's all of the fines. In other words, you have the first problem, and then you have subsequent. Now, he did, when he wrote up the resolution, he did mention both. So he put the penalties for the first time and then subsequent, after the first offense noted above. And so that's what he put in the resolution.
The ordinance is what he's got here.
There's also a resolution.
I'm looking at the resolution.
Oh,
An
gotcha,
unnumbered resolution.
Gotcha, I number, okay.
It used to say additionally, and he
The
took
other
out
thing I noticed about the ordinance is it just gets rid of the stuff along 212 extending north, so it says it's not excluded.
right, because we felt that it shouldn't be excluded.
I'm looking to Ann.
I think that we should be locked in a room, and they shouldn't let us out until we figure this out, once and for all. It keeps coming and coming, it's like a wave, it's just, like, you know.
I think there's only two of us that have been duking this out forever. That's why it seems to me that we should put it to the city council, so that there are more people look at it, let them decide which way, because we go back and forth. We go, well, it shouldn't be, it should be, it shouldn't be. So let's put it for the city council to decide. We get to the point where we can't. Yes, Rod.
As an involved citizen, my suggestion, you've got the resolution already created. Take out the penalty part in the ordinance, just refer to the resolution, give that resolution a number, pass them both, you're done.
Yeah, that's kind of where I started.
And worry about who is gonna clean the north and south end of town. I wouldn't make that in writing anywhere and leave it up to the discretion of the city, depending on the time.
Yeah, yeah, once we get to that point.
I don't wanna treat central business
I would
district and
agree.
north and south equally. I think
I
they're
would
different
agree to
entities.
do equally, but don't commit, because you may decide you don't want to do
But
it.
you said treat them equally, and she said she doesn't want to treat them equally.
Well, they
But she
aren't,
said she wanted them treated.
Central business district is different than north and south, but north and south should be treated as separate entities.
and the same.
And no, the Zip Trip employees don't have to come out on the freaking sidewalk and clear it. It's a state, it's too wide, it's 120 feet instead of 20, and it's a city or a state problem, I think. It's just not a sidewalk, like in front of Broadway Books or whatever it is. They're not the same.
as such.
And I don't know legally, which Dennis was here, but legally, what is the difference? Because in my mind, they're totally separate.
North and south should be treated separately?
Yes. And we can say, hey, Mike, let's do north and south and do it,
If you can.
do it.
Except you say, hey, Mayor, and then Mayor says, hey, Mike.
Okay, got you.
Never say, Mike.
I'm sure.
So,
Okay,
so.
I'm gonna take a quick vote, take it out of the resolution, and take it out of the ordinance,
The fines.
create the fines, and create the resolution for the fines. Yay or nay?
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yay
Boom.
covers it.
That's gonna be the recommendation.
Thank you, Ross.
Thank God, thank
Yep.
you.
Well, now we're making progress, so.
I have another question, no. go.
It gives it more time to evolve, due
Police
time, so
department's
that's
really
good.
quiet after 2:00 in the morning.
Well,
Shovel.
Oh, yeah.
I wish
Sure,
that
they'd
were
love
true.
that.
And then the
Great
second
exercise.
question is gonna be on the second page, which talks about, the multi-path and highway. So I will lead a discussion tonight from the full council
On the
as to
resolution?
central business district. Do we just strike north and south and leave it at city discretion?
Okay, because that might be the best way to handle it, is to strike the north exclusion and see what happens.
Again, let's move the damn thing forward. Let's make.
And
No.
quoted in the paper.
Okay.
I try, like I said, I typically try not to say I'm speaking for her, but when I can hear it coming out of the side of her hair, and she's just not saying it.
Side of her hair?
There's smoke.
Damn room. Okay.
All right, everybody saw the recommendations from Dennison on animals? No?
I don't believe I saw that.
And that's not in, just for record, that's not on tonight's,
Oh, good.
that's not on tonight's agenda.
Good, because again, I don't have my public health and safety packet here that I have printed out.
Quoted
So,
in this one?
he said it's not in that packet,
Oh, it's not in this one, okay.
so there's the good news.
It's not in the big one. And just a reminder, you're gonna lose people at 1:45, so.
Sorry.
Okay,
So
good.
Jody can come here.
Good.
Okay.
That's the changes in the snow. Make changes, attach to sign below. I don't see anything in his emails. I know that he worked on it. Where are you, Dennison?
Oh, is this the vicious versus
Vicious
aggressive?
versus dangerous.
I thought we decided to be slash it, that's the last meeting.
I did do that within the thing and sent it to Dennison for him to look at. And he said, first off, we were, changing an ordinance that had already been eliminated by something else and something else. This is like the third or fourth, and he felt we should start over. That's why I'm checking emails for what Dennison wrote on this, because I know that I have something in here from him, but for the life of me, I can't find it. Let's do all mailboxes. Did you see that too, Mr. Mayor?
Sorry, say again?
Did you see Dennison's remarks on the animals? No? It would have been his last, he did the snow removal and the, dumpsters. That was much easier for him, but when it came to animals, he said that we didn't change the right one. And what was that, 910, or, I'm trying to remember. No, that's not, try 941. No, that's dumpsters. Just looking for ordinances.
So what is the question from his?
His was.
His is basically, I'm open to changes and suggestions. And then he sent an updated version. I copied livestock and chicken language. Is that, what is the question?
That's the email.
Okay, what?
Didn't he rewrite that whole animal.
It looked to me like there was a fairly significant rewrite in it.
Yeah, and there was a very significant rewrite, so,
And you're included on that, but
I
I
know.
don't see the rest of,
that's why I was trying to find it, because it's, I know it's in here.
5/23/25 is the date from him, if that's what you're looking for.
What's the ordinance number? Does it refer to it by ordinance?
904, but I think he'd also changed it, because I think this is the one that's actually a 924.
But that's
So,
good.
because there are several, 904, 924, 929, so,
But
I think-
904 is the one that we probably, 904. There it is.
Yeah.
So,
I thought, I'd have to go back and reread it, but I thought his was 904 is not the one you should be doing, because the others are later and more updated, but
you know, we're kind of,
that's council stuff, not my stuff, so I was just aware of it, not doing the work.
he says that, the current statute on dogs was very problematic, where there is one section that listed all prohibited activities, one section listed all the different penalties, and one section listed all the definitions. As such, I broke these into different sections and include the definitions prohibited activity and the penalties self-contained sections. Helps with enforcement. Ordinance 929 only addressed 5B, ordinance 924 enacted, however, 924 also. There was also this overlap between 924 and 929. You can understand that all of our ordinances here are all screwy.
It sounds to me like what you've got is something to forward on to your
Committee,
committee folks,
yeah,
so that they have time to review it and look and come with suggestions or comments next time.
yes, because
Yes, no purple?
it really isn't
No
good.
purple?
Yes, comma, no, comma, purple. 'cause
Oh.
You always have to have a choice other than just yes and no.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Take purple.
I don't think, if you're saying you don't have yours, they don't have theirs, to me, that says you're not prepared to have a conversation today.
No, we're gonna have to look over that email, and I'll send the email to you as well as
Yeah,
his suggestions on that.
but if you all recall our meeting 2 weeks ago, you know, we talked about, I'm all about going to a town that's similar to Red Lodge and stealing their ordinance. Because what happens there will happen here, and we can't do anecdotal examples. Make it simple, and as Greg said 2 weeks ago, my guys never get to a situation and go, gosh, I wonder what I should do. They know what to do. Just make it as simple as possible, because it's, listen, we've been talking about this for 4 months. It can't be this difficult.
So every time we get input, it changes everything. When the judge got involved and he had the problems that he's having with it, apparently Greg doesn't really have any problems with it, he knows what to do. We just need to put it on paper so the judge can deal with it. And that's what we're trying to do. So let's just take a look and see what Dennison wrote up and see, does that work?
Okay, but I'm gonna look at some other ordinances, because this is cockeyed that has gone on. This is 5 months I've been sitting here, and we're talking about the same thing.
Well, not everybody has the problems that we have because of
I don't think we
bears.
have unique problems.
Yeah,
I think we have dogs and we have snow. But everyone has dogs and snow.
well, it's not as simple as dogs, unfortunately, because then we've got chickens and we've got horses and, you know, we've got more animals than dogs.
I bet there's chickens in Livingston.
Well, we're not supposed to have chickens. Yeah,
My point is, this problem has been solved somewhere else, and we need to integrate that, think about that, and make it simple. Because I don't know any ordinance you read an ordinance and it's not cockeyed, it's like, okay, boom, doom, doom. But for 5 months to be discussing the same stuff, I'm kinda going nutty.
well, if you want to double check, I'd check
I
West
will
Yellowstone,
do that, and,
probably West Yellowstone.
yes. But listen, stealing ordinance information is what everyone
It's the way
does.
to go. Yeah, okay.
Should I give you my email address? Is that okay?
Yes, I
Yeah.
would, please.
Patty, Patty, and then Davis, Davis, then Ward1 @gmail.
got it. Ward
Getting
one,
familiar with
at-
Gmail.
Oh, you
I
haven't
was
used
always
it
a
before?
Yahoo, yeah.
It's really good.
But
we gotta move on.
Any input from the
From
audience,
other-
Ron?
Well, having sat here and listened for 5 months,
Are you sick of animals
you know,
too?
things have been brought up, if there's a state ordinance, let the state ordinance prevail.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
We have wildlife issues, we have domestic pet issues, we have livestock, and those have all been addressed. And they should be addressed in separate ordinances because they're separate issues. So, I'm not sure, to me, the judge, there's 3 branches of government. There's the lawmakers, which you are, there's the enforcement, which is the police department, and then you have the judicial who judges the laws. Now, he's made suggestions, but he's not the person that creates the laws.
No, we just need to make it so that he can read the ordinance and go from there.
Right, so,
But again, my concern is that when we've had that conversation, it sounds like a Facebook round and round and round, where everybody's saying,
Pitching in.
and nothing's moving.
Yeah, yep.
The goal here is not
it
Facebook.
sounds like there's something in writing, but no one has it to review.
Yes, yeah.
That's what I've heard today.
Well, I hear.
Where is
that-
it?
Well, we have what Dennison wrote.
Dennison, yeah.
yeah. No, you have what Dennison wrote. The committee doesn't have it.
Well, I did forward it.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, but I didn't forward it to Patty.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We're running out of time, I just
You're
want,
out of time.
could I tell you, say, did anyone, I live 2 blocks from downtown, but never, just will go down. What about the trash cans on, like Monday and Tuesday, were they overflowing downtown for Memorial Day weekend? Anybody observe anything interesting?
I didn't observe anything except a lot of people.
I observed that the cans at the red boxcar last night were full, but they had not yet emptied and pushed them to their outside thing, so.
Okay,
And, I had a couple things on my early morning, but I did not drive down the alleys.
okay, so there's, okay, I just,
And I
Well,
will,
this is a holiday, so today would be the day that they would be
they're doing,
overflowing.
like I said, this morning, I could have done a good poll and do it, and I didn't.
and maybe I'll go walk down to Broadway Books and ask Brian, since he was here last time, how his garbage, actually, his coffee roaster's garbage can.
That's next to them.
But it's not their garbage can, it's just placed next, I don't wanna blame anything on coffee roasters, but,
But I will second, because if I look at all the stuff we're talking about right now, and I look at it from a mayor's perspective, public health and safety, trash, AKA bears, is at the top of that list.
Yeah.
Snow is kind of next, and the animal thing is,
They use their best judgment already.
I just make sure they have the tools to do it.
but I like what Greg said like 2 weeks ago, because, my guys know what to do. Let's just make it, not hinder them in any way, that's my thing.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I don't know what else,
Are we done, or are we?
Well, we know that sometimes those animal issues end up in court.
Mhm.
You get,
It's okay, thank you so much.
and tell her you're on your way so she can leave, and
I'll text
I'm gonna
her.
call
Yeah,
her.
we-
Did he just kick you out of the
Thank
meeting?
Yeah,
you.
she's like, yeah, yeah.
I have instructions informing me to do so.
We are over, thank you.
Thank you.